My experience was very informational because living in Tacoma, I know that there were problems with the transportation because of the cuts in the routes, but I didn't realize that there was a coalition or a group of people that were getting together to discuss these problems. So I feel like by doing this project, my eyes were opened a lot.
Going into these meetings, I didn't know what to expect, but I learned a lot from this, and it gave me new information about my own community and what the issues were and different ways to solve them.
I think that I definitely, as a peers writer, I definitely learned a lot more than, just taking a route and going from point A to point B. Like, I got to see a little bit of the inside of how things really work.
I think the process for community input was okay, but I think they could have done better. What they could have done was put out advertisements inside the bus for the people who actually ride it, or maybe take surveys within the bus for the bus riders so the actual riders can give input, and the transportation department could probably use that information to help regulate, or they could change the bus to what many people want.
It could have been improved in the youth department because as a teenager, looking around in those meetings, I was usually either the only one or I would see only these two along with me. And so it was very, very new, as Eric said. Like, I was seeing different people, and at times it was awkward. So I feel that they should do a better job at reaching out to the community, especially in the youth area, or even in just the other local townspeople, just to let them know that these are problems and we're here to fix them.
I feel like there was too many of the higher ups. I mean, they probably take the bus to Seattle and stuff like that, but that's like one express bus, but not people from our community. I think that they could have done a better way in, having meetings in different locations and having times a little different, because it's like 5 o'clock, that's probably when people are like coming home and they're tired and stuff. Like, I know, like, if my mom was working, she would not want to have to go. It's just like being able to advertise at different times and a little more convenience.
More advertisement, as was discussed before a little bit, because as young adults, we don't know when these meetings occur. So if it hadn't been for this program, I wouldn't have been aware that there were such meetings. So I feel that they should just open this up more to the community, and especially not so much the high up business people, but just the normal community people, such as me.
I think something that could have been very useful to improve the public meetings is probably going to like local high schools and middle schools, people like students that actually ride the bus. It's just like, I know when I was in middle school and high school, like, I had to take the bus everywhere all the time. Like, my mom couldn't afford for me to take me, she had to go to work and stuff. And it's just like, really, that's, I think, one key way to really have the students' voices is going to the students. But if you were to do it during like school hours and stuff like that, I think that's a way to have a big audience that you can talk to.
Project them to get everybody to know what's happening and what they're doing, because not everybody takes the bus, but a lot of local people take the bus, and if only high class people are going to these meetings, then they're not doing the right thing. They should project it to local members and the communities themselves to get everybody. The language in the meetings, they were kind of confusing. Like, most of us weren't taught the language that these high council members use. If they wanted youth involvement and local involvement, maybe they could have used a better language to help speak to the local people, because communication between the council and local people is the reason why they're having these meetings.
I feel that they didn't really understand that different people have different learning levels or different places where they're at in their grammar. So I feel that, especially as like a teenager, that it was hard for me to understand some topics, and I had to really focus and pay attention to be able to grasp what they were talking about.
I think as a young adult, like they both said, like the language was very hard to understand. I feel like if I didn't have my mentor there with me to ask her questions, I would probably have been lost. Like half the time I was like, honestly, I was falling asleep because it's just like if I'm not going to understand something, I'm going to zone out. And it's just like, then I'm not going to want to be there. And it's like these meetings are supposed to be for community members, but not all community members, like like their level of education isn't all the same, and it's just like you have to make sure that you're still reaching a wide variety of people. For me, it was like really hard to understand. Like I'm a college student, and it's like there's like kind of like techie stuff when people were talking about their budgets and when they were talking about different parts that a bus needed. It's like they didn't really explain exactly. They're just like, yeah, well, we need this and I need that and this is how much it's going to pay. Like the only thing I understood was the money part. And it's like that's hard to say. Like, yeah, like that's all I got out of a meeting was how much money they were getting or spending, and if people agreed or didn't disagree. It's just like I should have been able to take a little more out of the meeting than just that.
What went well in the public meetings is that there was collaborations between different areas and communities. I feel that certain communities weren't as open or aware to different problems as another community would be. For example, one community was more interested in finding solutions for veterans and youth, as another one was more interested in finding transportation or ways of getting around for workers or homeless people. So I feel that there was more input put in it, and maybe it opened the eyes of more of the people in the community.
I think that they really want to have the community's voice and that they're eager to get people in there. I mean, we're students here, they wanted us to be there.
What went well in the public meetings was the structure of the meeting. They had an agenda telling you what they were going to say and what time they were going to tell you it. They had the names of everybody who was in the meeting. They also allowed community input, so they let people from local communities talk and get involved with it.
I think youth use public transit all the time. Like I know from an early age I learned how to use the bus and stuff, the bus system. I mean, they use it when they're going to school. They're using it after they get out of classes, when they're trying to go to the mall and hang out with their friends, after baseball or basketball or whatever kind of practice that they're coming from. It's just like on the weekends, parents have to work a lot, and a lot of the times they can't take their kids to go meet up with their friends and pick them up, and it's just like, I think that using the bus is one of their really key transportations.
I feel that youth probably use the public transit the most out of the population, because as youth, we want our independence. So by using the Pierce Transit or other bus routes or lines, it allows us to go and do stuff ourselves. And even if it's not just an independence thing, I feel that it's more of a convenience thing, because most of the time parents or adults cannot take us, or gas prices are too high, so we have to take the bus.
I think youth use public transit as one of their main sources of transportation. Not all of them, but I see most students that go to school use public transportation, mainly because either they haven't gotten their license yet or their parents aren't able to take them everywhere.
I feel that what might keep youth from using public transportation maybe is the language barriers, because I know for some families that aren't that are very traditional or that don't have English as a first language, that they might be skeptical of their child using the bus routes because they're not sure it's safe, or they don't know, like, they don't understand how to use it, so they wouldn't think that their own child would.
I think the culture barrier, because not a lot of parents are the same. They think about their children differently. They have different safety precautions for them, and the bus, it can be dangerous because it's a public transportation, it's open to the public and anybody could use it. So safety is a big issue for youth.
The lack of routes that there is, like cutting them down and stuff like that. Sometimes there's not a route by your house, or even like the price increase. It's like it changes. It's like not a lot, but for some people it is. I mean, I guess I would like to thank you for letting me be here. They probably feel the same way. I think that I learned a lot from being here, and understanding more of my community.
From what we've said already about getting out more into the local community and like reaching out to more of the lower classes and taking more steps to actually get more youth there than just us three.
Anything additional I would like to add is, like she said before, get more youth involvement, because a lot of youth use the public transportation, and if you get local people to help put input into these problems and transportation meetings, then it would help a lot. I would definitely participate in this process again. With this opportunity, I was given insight into the community workings and the behind the scenes in the transportation department, and seeing these issues in transportation, they've opened my eyes about using it, and community input and involvement, and I learned that it's very important to be involved with your community, because even one person can help out and it can make a difference.
I think if I had the opportunity to participate again, I definitely would. Only because now I know a little, my feet are already wet, and so I already know a little bit about what's going on and some of the issues that have been talked about. And I would honestly like to see like the plans that they did have, like the link rail. Like I would want to know more about it and see, how far it goes. I think that there was some topics that I was a little more interested than others, that I would want to see, exactly what route are being taken. And just so, it's like now that I know more about it, invite my friends to come along.
I think if I had the chance to again, I would definitely do it again. One reason is because I would like to see that if they take our input to heart and if they do change and make the meetings more adaptable. And also, even if they don't, like, it was a very good experience for me. It opened my eyes a lot, and I know for me, like, I could tell my fellow peers that I was doing something positive in the community, and I could inspire them to do the same. So I feel that by doing this again, it would definitely reach out to more classmates.